The person who controls your attention controls you. And the most dangerous people in the room, they don't demand attention, they withdraw it. In a world addicted to validation, silence becomes domination. While others argue, explain, and defend themselves, the powerful simply ignore. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Attention is currency. And when you stop paying, people panic. Today, you'll learn the ruthless art of strategic silence and why those who master it don't chase power. They become it. Imagine walking into a room and instantly sensing who matters and who doesn't. It's not always the loudest voice or the flashiest outfit that commands the space. It's the person everyone else is watching. Attention is the invisible currency that determines status, influence, and even survival in social hierarchies. From the moment we're born, we're wired to crave it. Babies cry for it. Teenagers rebel for it. Adults chase it in boardrooms and on social media. But here's the truth. No one tells you. The person who controls attention controls the game. Mainstream self-help tells you to focus on yourself or ignore the haters, but it rarely explains why attention is so powerful. Every time you give someone your attention, whether it's a compliment, a reaction, or even an argument, you're investing in their value. You're telling the world, this person matters. Manipulators, narcissists, and power players know this instinctively. They provoke, they bait, they create drama, not because they care about your opinion, but because your attention is their fuel. The more you react, the more powerful they become. Think about the last time someone got under your skin. Maybe it was a coworker who made a snide comment, or a friend who posted something just to get a rise out of you. Did you respond? Did you stew over it? Replaying the moment in your head. That's attention, and it's exactly what they wanted. Every second you spend thinking about them, you're handing over your power, piece by piece. But here's the hidden truth. Attention is a limited resource. You only have so much to give, and where you direct it shapes your reality. The most dangerous people in any environment aren't the ones who demand attention. They're the ones who can withhold it. When you ignore someone, you're not just being passive. You're actively denying them the validation and energy they crave. You're sending a message that they don't matter, that their attempts to provoke you are beneath your notice. This is why ignoring is so devastating. It's not just silence, it's social starvation. And once you understand how attention works, you'll see why Machiavelli and other masters of power used ignoring as their deadliest weapon. But how did Machiavelli himself wield this tool? Let's step back in time and uncover the origins of strategic ignoring. Niccolo Machiavelli, the infamous author of The Prince, understood something about human nature that most people still miss today. Not every battle is worth fighting. And sometimes, the most devastating blow is delivered through absence, not action. In Renaissance Italy, a world of shifting alliances, betrayals, and ruthless ambition, Machiavelli observed that the most cunning leaders didn't waste their energy on every insult or challenge. Instead, they mastered the art of strategic ignoring, using silence as a weapon to destabilize rivals and consolidate their own power. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." But what he left unsaid is just as important. Sometimes, the greatest fear comes not from confrontation, but from being rendered invisible. When a powerful figure ignored a rival, it sent a chilling message. Your existence is irrelevant to my plans. This wasn't just passive aggression. It was a calculated move to unnerve opponents, sow doubt, and force them into desperate, self-sabotaging actions. History is full of examples. Consider the Medici family, who ruled Florence not just through wealth and violence, but through selective attention. They would lavish praise and resources on allies, while treating enemies as if they didn't exist. The result? Those ignored would scramble for recognition, often making reckless moves that exposed their weaknesses. Machiavelli saw this pattern and distilled it into a principle. To control the narrative, you must control who gets your attention and who doesn't. This strategy wasn't limited to politics. In courtly life, being ignored by the right person could destroy reputations overnight. A single cold shoulder from a powerful patron could turn a rising star into a social outcast. Machiavelli understood that ignoring was a form of psychological warfare, one that left no fingerprints but inflicted deep wounds. Contrast this with today's culture, where people are taught to respond to every slight, to defend their honor at all costs. Machiavelli's wisdom flips this script. Sometimes, the most ruthless move is to act as if your enemy doesn't even exist. This is the hidden power of ignoring, a force that can destabilize, humiliate, and ultimately destroy those who crave your attention. But why does being ignored cut so deeply? To understand the true power of this tactic, we need to look inside the human mind and uncover the psychology of being ignored. Being ignored isn't just a minor annoyance. It's a psychological gut punch that can leave scars deeper than any insult or argument. Neuroscience has shown that social rejection, including being ignored, activates the same regions of the brain as physical pain. That's right, your brain literally processes being ignored as if you've been physically hurt. This isn't just poetic language. It's hardwired biology. Our ancestors depended on social bonds for survival, so exclusion from the group was a death sentence. Even today, our brains haven't evolved past that primal fear. When someone ignores you, your mind scrambles for answers. Did I do something wrong? Am I not good enough? Why am I invisible? This uncertainty is torture. The lack of feedback or closure keeps your brain in a loop, searching for meaning where there is none. It's psychological starvation. Your need for acknowledgement goes unmet, and the hunger only grows. That's why people will go to extreme lengths, even self-destructive ones, just to get a reaction. Negative attention is better than no attention at all. Mainstream advice tells you to just move on, or don't take it personally. But that's easier said than done. The truth is, being ignored can trigger anxiety, depression, and even physical symptoms like headaches or stomach pain. It chips away at your self-esteem, making you question your worth. This is why ignoring is such a potent weapon in the hands of a Machiavellian strategist. It doesn't just silence you, it makes you doubt yourself, sometimes for years. But here's the hidden twist. The pain of being ignored isn't just about ego. It's about power. When someone withholds their attention, they're signaling that you have no influence over them. You can't provoke them. You can't sway them. You can't even get them to acknowledge your existence. That's a devastating blow to anyone who craves validation or control. This is why the art of ignoring is so effective. It weaponizes our deepest fears and insecurities, often without a single word being spoken. But what if you could flip the script? What if, instead of being a victim of this tactic, you could master it and use it to your advantage? Let's break down the 5 ruthless ways you can use ignoring as a tool for power. If you've ever felt powerless in a conversation, overlooked at work, or manipulated in a relationship, it's time to flip the script. Ignoring isn't just a defense mechanism. It's a weapon, a tool, and a shield all in one. When used with intention, it can shift the balance of power in any situation. Here are 5 ruthless ways to deploy the art of ignoring, Machiavelli style, in your daily life. 1. The strategic silence. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They rush to fill it, revealing their insecurities and intentions. When you deliberately withhold your response, whether in a heated argument, a negotiation, or even a group chat, you force others to confront their own uncertainty. Strategic silence makes people question themselves. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? What are they thinking? This psychological discomfort puts you in control. Instead of reacting impulsively, you become the one who sets the pace and tone of the interaction. The next time someone tries to bait you, don't take it. Let the silence do the talking. 2. The social freeze-out. In group dynamics, attention is everything. If someone is undermining you, spreading rumors, or trying to steal your spotlight, don't engage in a public battle. Instead, orchestrate a social freeze-out. Withdraw your attention, exclude them from conversations, and subtly redirect the group's focus elsewhere. This tactic is devastating because it attacks the person's social standing. Without open confrontation, they'll feel the chill, and others will notice the shift in energy. The key is consistency. Don't waver or show guilt. Over time, the target will either adapt to your boundaries or remove themselves from your orbit. 3. The professional ghost. In the workplace, not every challenge deserves your energy. When a colleague tries to drag you into office politics or drama, become a ghost. Respond only to what's necessary. Keep interactions strictly professional and avoid emotional engagement. This not only protects your reputation, but also signals that you're above petty games. People quickly learn that you can't be manipulated or provoked. The professional ghost is respected, sometimes even feared, because their attention is rare and valuable. 4. The emotional detachment. Personal relationships are fertile ground for manipulation, especially when emotions run high. If someone is trying to guilt trip you, provoke jealousy, or play mind games, emotional detachment is your best defense. This doesn't mean being cold or cruel. It means refusing to let their tactics dictate your mood or actions. When you stop reacting emotionally, manipulators lose their grip. They crave drama and validation, but your indifference starves them. Over time, they'll either change their approach or move on to an easier target. 5. The selective acknowledgement. Not all ignoring is total silence. Sometimes, the most powerful move is to acknowledge someone only on your terms. Respond to what serves your interests and ignore what doesn't. This selective acknowledgement keeps people guessing and reinforces your boundaries. It's a subtle way of saying, I decide what matters. In negotiations, relationships, and even online interactions, this tactic makes your attention a scarce resource, one that others have to earn. These 5 strategies aren't about being heartless. They're about reclaiming your power. Mainstream advice tells you to be open, responsive, and accommodating. But that's how you get drained and manipulated. Machiavellian ignoring is about protecting your energy, commanding respect, and forcing others to play by your rules. But before you unleash these tactics, you need to understand the risks. Ignoring is powerful, but it's not without consequences. Use it carelessly, and you might create enemies or damage your reputation. So, what happens when ignoring backfires? Let's explore the dark side of this ruthless art. Every weapon has a double edge, and the art of ignoring is no exception. While it can elevate your status and protect your energy, it can also spark unintended consequences if wielded carelessly. The truth is, ignoring someone isn't always a silent victory. It can provoke resentment, escalate conflicts, and even backfire in ways you never anticipated. Let's start with retaliation. When you ignore the wrong person, especially someone with their own influence or a fragile ego, you risk turning a minor annoyance into a full-blown adversary. Some people interpret being ignored as the ultimate insult, a challenge to their worth or authority. Instead of backing down, they might double their efforts to undermine you, gossip behind your back, or rally others to their side. What began as a simple act of self-preservation can quickly spiral into a social or professional war. Then there's the risk to your reputation. In tightly knit groups or workplaces, your silence can be misread as arrogance, indifference, or even hostility. People may start to question your motives, label you as cold, or exclude you from important conversations. The very tactic that's meant to make you untouchable can, if overused, isolate you from valuable allies and opportunities. Machiavellian ignoring is about control, not cruelty. Lose sight of that. and you risk becoming the villain in your own story. Ethically, there's a fine line between protecting yourself and inflicting unnecessary harm. Ignoring can be a form of psychological punishment, and if used recklessly, it can damage someone's self-esteem or mental health. Ask yourself, are you setting boundaries, or are you using silence to manipulate and hurt? The most powerful players know when to deploy this tactic, and when to show empathy instead. Mainstream advice rarely talks about these risks. It paints ignoring as a harmless way to rise above. But the reality is far more complex. True Machiavellian strategy means understanding the battlefield, reading your opponents, and knowing when to strike and when to hold back. So, how do you harness the power of ignoring without losing your influence or your humanity? The answer lies in mastering advanced tactics, using absence to increase your value, not just to punish. Let's dive into the next level: how to disappear without losing your grip on. At the highest levels of power, the most influential people are often the least available. Their absence isn't a weakness. It's a calculated move that amplifies their value and mystique. This is the advanced art of Machiavellian ignoring, disappearing strategically, not to escape, but to control the narrative and make your presence felt even when you're not physically there. Think about the people you admire or fear most. Are they constantly accessible, always explaining themselves, or endlessly reacting to others? Or do they appear only when it matters, leaving people wondering what they're thinking, what they're planning, and when they'll return? This cultivated scarcity is no accident. When you make yourself less available, you force others to fill in the blanks with their own curiosity, admiration, or even anxiety. Your absence becomes a canvas for their imagination. And that's where real influence begins. One powerful tactic is the strategic retreat. Instead of engaging in every debate or attending every event, choose your moments carefully. When you step back, you give your words and actions more weight. People start to notice when you do speak up, and your silence becomes a statement in itself. This is how legends are built, not by being everywhere, but by being missed when you're gone. Another advanced move is to control the flow of information about yourself. Don't overshare. Let rumors and speculation work in your favor. When people don't know your next move, they're forced to pay attention, to watch for your return. This unpredictability keeps you at the center of the narrative, even in your absence. But perhaps the most Machiavellian tactic is to use proxies, trusted allies, or subtle signals to maintain your influence while you're away. A well-timed message, a cryptic comment, or a loyal supporter can remind others of your presence without you ever having to show up. You become the ghost in the room, the unseen force shaping outcomes from the shadows. Mainstream advice is, show up and be seen. But true power often lies in being missed, not noticed. When you master the art of disappearing, you don't lose influence, you multiply it. And as we wrap up, it's time to bring all these lessons together and challenge you to step into this new level of power. You've just uncovered one of the most forbidden secrets in the game of power, the ruthless art of ignoring. From the psychology of attention to Machiavelli's timeless strategies, you now know that silence, absence, and selective engagement aren't signs of weakness. They're the ultimate tools for dominance. While the masses chase validation and react to every provocation, the true elite use ignoring to destabilize rivals, protect their energy, and command respect without ever raising their voice. But knowledge alone isn't enough. The real transformation happens when you put these tactics into practice. Start small. Withhold your reaction the next time someone tries to bait you. Watch how the dynamic shifts. Experiment with strategic silence, selective acknowledgement, and even the power of disappearing. You'll be amazed at how quickly you become the one who sets the rules. If you're ready to step into this new level of power, drop a comment below. Tell us which tactic you'll try first. Like this video if you want more forbidden knowledge, and subscribe to join a community that's rewriting the rules of influence. Most will keep chasing attention. The few who master ignoring will rule them all. Are you ready to be one of them?